Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Mrpierso86 Gaming. This is Dustin, aka Mrpierso.
And Rita, aka Ragecat.
Thank you for joining us as we begin a long but rewarding journey of playing through the Final Fantasy series. Our beloved series, starting with Final Fantasy I. We'll be playing the Pixel Remaster, as I'm sure many of you know. Final Fantasies 1 through 6 were re-released as Pixel Remasters with some updated graphics, orchestrated, actual orchestra level soundtrack. Sounds amazing. And I'm really excited to play through this with you folks. I'm also really excited to play through it with you, Rita, because I don't think you've ever really seen the first Final Fantasy, or even many of the Final Fantasies, have you?
No, my first exposure to Final Fantasy was a movie that featured some weird guy that looked exceedingly pretty with spiky blonde hair. And then I didn't even hear anything about Final Fantasy again until I met you.
Oh,
And
that's
then you
not.
shut up about it.
Oh, that doesn't sound like Final Fantasy at all. A guy with spiky hair and a giant sword. That sounds like some other stupid bullcrap.
And way too many belts. Like, you don't need that many belts.
You need all the belts. Stuff starts to fall apart. You're in the middle of nowhere.
I take it back. Hold on. My brother is a big fan of that Disney Final Fantasy mashup game series.
Oh, Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah, that thing.
Well, I'm really excited to play through these with you. I know that's a big undertaking, a very huge undertaking. But these games hold a special place in my heart, and I'm really excited to share them with you and to share them with our viewers. So with Final Fantasy 1, a lot of the Final Fantasies have already pre-established, pre-named characters, like the one you just talked about with the spiky-haired guy, Final Fantasy 7. Mm-hmm. With Final Fantasy 1, you pick your team, the 4 Warriors of Light, you pick their jobs, and you pick their names. Now, as we discussed before, since there's 4 of them, you said you wanted to name them after our cats, right?
That was my price for recording this whole thing. We're going to be naming them after our 4 cats.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I will leave it up to you to decide who's who in the zoo and who's being named what. So we'll start with the first character. So currently we're on Warrior. Mm-hmm. These are the 6 jobs we can pick from. Basically the 6 starting jobs from our, Final Fantasy 11 series. Mm-hmm. Basically the 6 starting jobs that are in that game.
Okay, so I have a pretty good idea what the differences between Warrior, Thief, and Monk, but what are the differences between these 3 mages?
So Black Mage is blowing shit up, nukes, direct damage. White Mage is all-out healer, support. They do get some, the Dia spell, which can damage undead, and supportive stuff like Protect and Shell and all that. Mm-hmm. Red Mage is kind of a jack of all trades. They can use some heavier weapons. They can use white and black magic. So you get a nice little mix with them, but they won't be able to master, towards the end of the game, they won't be getting some of, the best spells like white mage and black mage would. Mm-hmm. They, jack of all trades, master of none, basically.
Okay. Let's stick with Warrior for the first character.
Okay, and who are we naming after the Warrior?
That will be our one and only big boy, Pumpkin.
Chonker alert. All right.
Big boned, okay?
Yeah, so our big boy Pumpkin, yeah, that makes sense. And who's our next one?
For my Siamese cat Bastet, let's make her the White Mage.
The angry, cranky White Mage.
It works. Okay, so for our special Princess Kenzie.
Very special.
Very special. Let's make her the Thief. She's not a very good thief in real life, but she keeps trying.
All the time she tries to steal food when she thinks that we're not watching.
Well, she's allergic to so many things, but she still tries.
Yeah. Okay, and finally our little rescue cat, Sunny.
Yes, our 3-year-old unbridled ball of chaos should probably be a black mage.
Okay, sounds good.
I just gotta say, the black mage, I don't know if we see their real face eventually or whether they're always just, glowing little yellow eyes, but My father has renamed in his mind Sunny to Popeye because all he ever sees of her when he visits is these yellow eyes staring at him.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it fits. Okay, we've got our team. Let's dive into the first Final Fantasy. The Pixel Remaster. Begin the game with this party. We're gonna end the game with this party. That's the plan, anyway.
They don't encourage you to kill off characters and replace them, do they?
No, not that I'm aware of. The world lies shrouded in darkness.
I was gonna say that's so typical for Final Fantasy, but this is the first one, so I can't hold that against them.
Yeah. Yeah, this game has some really interesting history. The winds die. The seas rage. The earth decays. Don't even get me started on the gas prices.
The music's really nice, though.
Oh, the music in the Pixel Remasters is incredible. But the people believe in a prophecy, patiently awaiting its fulfillment. When darkness veils the world, 4 warriors of light shall come. After a long journey, 4 young travelers did at last appear. And in the hand of each, in the paw of each, was clutched a crystal.
That's it? Nobody told them that they were warriors of light? They just have some shiny rocks in their possession?
Well, the shiny rocks, they're cats, that makes sense. And they showed up when they damn well felt like it because, well, they're cats. Okay, giving us a run through the controls.
I don't feel like this is an appropriate means of deciding who's the general of the army. I have the shiniest rock here.
They each have a rock. Equal opportunity. So we've got 500 gil to our name. Pumpkin's got a knife. Bastet's got a staff. Kenzie has a knife. And Sunny has a staff. Alright, so let's go to the castle and find out what it is we're supposed to be doing. That sounds reasonable.
Relatively?
Castle Cornelia. I've always really liked this music. The Final Fantasies have such beautiful soundtracks.
Mm-hmm.
The king is searching for the prophesied warriors of light. Those crystals, could it be?
Nah, man, found in a box.
Yeah. Oh, you know, we beat the shit out of 4 guys on the way here. Oh. In some versions of the game, the guards will literally just take you, like, straight to the king. This game's been, like, re-released and remastered and redone, like, so many times. Oh, if I hold down the B button, I can run.
How come there's only Pumpkin there?
It only shows the one character, but if you want, you can hit the one button, one of the bumper buttons. We can change it up.
Oh my goodness, the little black mage.
Yeah, so if you want an accurate portrayal of our cats tearing ass up and down the hallway, chasing each other. Nah!
Yeah. Bastet would never run up and down the hallway. Bastet is a refined older lady.
Yes. She's also cranky. Our reports say that Garland fled north with the princess. To the Chaos Shrine. Well, I got a pretty good idea of what it is we're supposed to do. The king is searching for the prophesied warriors of light. Those crystals! You must see the king at once. Why are you cats?
Hey, the prophecy was very vague. It merely said warriors of light. Apparently having a shiny rock in your possession does the trick.
Exactly. Welcome, travelers. I am told you carry crystals. Is this true? Meow. It's just as Lucan's prophecy foretold. When darkness veils the world, 4 warriors of light shall come.
Doesn't even say to where. Who knows how many kingdoms there are on this planet?
Your Majesty, we cannot be certain that these are the warriors foretold by the prophecy.
Finally, somebody with some sense.
Yet they stand before us with the crystals. I cannot dismiss this as mere coincidence. Crystal bearers, there is a task I would ask of you. Will you rescue my daughter, Sarah? Garland, a knight once in His Majesty's service, has abducted Princess Sarah. I ask for your aid in the name of His Majesty, the King of Cornelia. Garland has taken refuge in the Chaos Shrine, which lies to our north. Of course, we did attempt to save the princess ourselves, but Garland is the finest swordsman in the kingdom. We have none who can match him. Plus, we're all unionized, so our guards really don't do more than the bare minimum.
You know, one swordsman versus an army. Are we doing anime rules that you need to attack one-on-one, or did nobody think of just torching the shrine?
Quick, hit him! Quick, go! Detain him, but it's his turn. I have to wait for him. I have heard that you wish to journey to the continent to our north. The bridge leading north was lost long ago, making passage impossible. If you can rescue Sarah, I will have the bridge rebuilt as a token of my gratitude. Shouldn't you be doing that anyway? Like, you're the king. Isn't that what the tax dollars go towards?
Sitting on a gold throne. Oh yeah, passage was impossible for a long time. But if you do me this favor, I'll fix it. Jeez.
Go now, warriors of light. Do not fail me. I'm starting to think there's two sides to this story. Garland's probably like some embittered worker that was like, you know what, I worked my butt off. And I, gave it my all. What did I get? Nothing.
Maybe they're not unionized.
I am Jane, Queen of Cornelia. Please, bring my daughter, my Sarah, back to me safely. Okay. After I take a nap.
That is Pumpkin.
Yeah. He's in my bed and he's licking his balls. Oh, don't mind me. It's really humid outside. This is Cornelia, the city of dreams, where it all started.
This is Pumpkin from the Grand Prairie, the city of potholes.
Looking at the reflection of the fountain. Ugh, you're filthy. Better lick yourself. First things first, let's stop at the weapon shop.
Nunchaku!
That's more for a monk, which we don't have.
Ah, okay, fine.
The funny thing with a monk is the nunchucks end up being a favored weapon until they hit a certain level, and then they become more superior with hand-to-hand in some versions of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go with rapier for Pumpkin. What do you think of Bastet beating the shit out of people with a hammer?
She'd be living out her glorious dreams. I'm sorry, is the idle animation for the white mage just constantly throwing the bird?
I didn't notice that before, but yeah, that's what it looks like.
Like, the black mage is clearly holding up 2 fingers.
Yeah.
But that white mage is clearly just saying F you all. Which is pretty in line for the healer of the group, yes.
It's also pretty in line for our sassy, grumpy Siamese, so... Bastet, do you like the idea of this big hammer? Fuck you. But Bastet, I just want to make sure you have the very best. Go fuck yourself. Okay, I love you, Bastet. Fuck you.
Bastet, can I offer you some fine kibble? Only the square pieces. Bastet,
Yeah.
This is a balanced nutritional meal for you. Only the square pieces.
Pretty much.
I'm not joking. She will pick out the square pieces.
Love letter to Final Fantasy 1, but I guess also a love letter to her cats, too.
Yes.
So since Pumpkin's a warrior, he definitely is ideal for the heavier armor, so we're going to get him some chainmail.
Protect the bebe.
And we'll also get Kenzie some leather armor as well, too, so she doesn't get the shit kicked out of her so easily. I'm also going to change the party order a bit, too. I'm going to put Bastet in the very back.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of these older RPGs, I think it's the same in this one. If it's not, anybody watching, let me know in the comments. In some of these older RPGs, the person at the front of the group, the top part, is more likely to get hit, so we definitely want Pumpkin up there, and we want our mages in the back.
Okay, so we don't have monsters deliberately singling out the healer or anything like that?
Not exactly. I think it's mostly random, but I don't think there's any kind of aggro or enmity meter.
Okay.
And some enemies are just going to hit everybody anyway, depending what abilities they're using.
Okay.
Alright, so now let's go into the magic shop. We'll get Bastet the cure spell.
Mm-hmm.
We're also going to go with Dia, which damages undead.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go with Protect as well.
Okay.
I think it actually gave us enough money to buy a little bit for everybody.
Oh, I see. There's a shop for white magic and a shop for dark magic. I was about to ask,
Yeah.
how come they don't have an option for Sunny to buy things, but okay.
Sunny will teach her fire.
Honda.
Thunder.
What does Focus do?
Lowers one enemy's evasion. I feel like we'd be more likely to use sleep. Puts all enemies to sleep.
All enemies to sleep. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes you can get as many as I think the limit's 9 enemies on the screen at once. So if we get really bum rushed, we can try to slow them down and put them to sleep.
Okay, sounds good.
So before we actually go through with this whole quest, we are gonna kill some things and get a couple of levels.
Oh, so it's just like Pokemon, you go wander into the tall grass?
You can run into stuff anywhere outside. If you're in the woods, the background will change, and sometimes in certain games, the enemies can change depending what kind of terrain you're on.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's random encounters wherever you go. The encounter rate in some of these old games can be a little ridiculous. The one of the final dungeon in this game, because when I've beaten Final Fantasy 1 once before. It was the Dawn of Souls Game Boy Advance version, which is a pretty watered down, easy version to play. They kind of mainstreamed it with some more modern RPGs. But the final dungeon in that one was, the encounter rate was brutal. It was every step or two you were running into enemies. So as you can see right now, the beginning of the game, the combat's quite simple. We're literally just fighting, trash mobs like goblins and such. When it comes to MP, you know how in some RPGs you've got, in Final Fantasy 11, for example, you'll have 600 and something MP. Different spells cost different amounts. In Final Fantasy 1, so we taught some level 1 spells to Sunny and Bastet. Got her level 1 spells here. 2 out of 2 there means she can only use them 2 times before she has to rest. So kind of like D&D a bit.
Okay.
And Bastet's the same. As you level up and your characters get stronger, they'll have more uses. And as you can see, there's different levels of spells.
Okay, do you get healing potions, or do you have to depend on your healer?
You can buy healing potions. I just didn't pick any up yet, because we're earning some money as we kill stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So you never got to see this Final Fantasy before, right?
No, it was kind of a shock seeing Final Fantasy without some amalgamation of numbers after the title.
Yeah, going back to the beginning. Yeah, Final Fantasy 1, the first Final Fantasy I ever played when I was a kid, back in the days when you go to movie rental stores and such, I had a paper route, and, meager little bit of money I made from that. I'd go rent a movie or rent a game for a week or something, and the first real exposure I had to JRPGs was Secret of Mana, Chrono Trigger, and then those got me into, I'd heard of Final Fantasy, but I didn't really know exactly what it was about. And the first Final Fantasy I ever played after playing Secret of Mana and Chrono Trigger was Final Fantasy IV, but as many people watching know, Final Fantasy IV used to be called Final Fantasy II. Because, this is Final Fantasy 1 that we're playing. But then Final Fantasy 2 and Final Fantasy 3, which came out on the original NES Nintendo, like this game did, those never made it over to North America back then. So by the time North America got another Final Fantasy, we were getting Final Fantasy 4, because at this point the Super Nintendo had come out, and there was the popularity of the Super Nintendo and wanting to capitalize on that, all about making money and such. So they brought Final Fantasy IV over here, but to avoid confusion, they called it Final Fantasy II. Which in turn did cause more confusion, because when it came to light that was actually Final Fantasy IV, because later on the PlayStation came out and had re-releases of these games, and it was Oh, I'm playing Final Fantasy IV. I've never played... Wait, this is Final Fantasy II. What the hell's going on? So, this game has an interesting history. I don't know all the specifics, but basically, Squaresoft, Sunsoft, whatever they were called back then, they weren't doing so good. There'd been attempts at making role-playing games and, games that... The gaming industry was in a very, in its infancy stages, basically. Mm-hmm. And this game, Final Fantasy, was the last-ditch effort before this company basically went under, from what I've read, to make something that people would enjoy and buy and that would be a success.
And save the company from going under.
Exactly. And by today's standards, I mean, even people that aren't gamers, that are not, into the nerd culture at all or anything like that, or they're into something different or whatever. You ask just about anybody what Final Fantasy is, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I don't," even my friends that aren't remotely gamers are like, "Oh yeah, I've heard of it." It's everywhere. It's popular. It's when you think JRPG, when you think, successful game franchise, Final Fantasy is probably one of the first that comes to mind. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this was the last-ditch effort to make some kind of successful game, and it worked. It was a success, and Final Fantasy is, still one of the biggest, if not the biggest RPG name to this date. And this game, Final Fantasy 1, it came out in the 80s. This is a remaster of the game, and it's a game that is, 30-something years old. Mm-hmm. It's quite an interesting piece of gaming history and an incredible accomplishment. So are you pretty excited to see these? For some of these you'll be seeing for the first time, babe?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a daunting amount of games to go through, but I'm not playing a character, I'm just watching you play it, so I get to just kind of sit back and chat and almost like playing a movie, but the characters almost a little bit respond to my heckling,
Yeah, and you get to have some input, and we get to have conversation about it, and we get to enjoy it together.
Exactly.
Well, I gotta say, the only character I'm really concerned about right now is Sunny. She, her health is so low, she's practically made of glass.
Is there a way to permanently raise her health, HP, whatever they call it in this game?
Leveling up. They all level up, but as they level up, their stats go up, including health. But Sunny is also a black mage, too. I mean, ferociously powerful, but squishy and fragile as all hell.
I expected all mages to be fragile, but still, she's less than half of what Bastet has as a white mage.
She needs to lift more.
He's 3!
I can set things on fire, but I've never touched a dumbbell. I don't even know how to spell dumbbell.